Hey guys, welcome into a brand new episode of the Take 3 Wrestling podcast. Weird, it's the same intro that I kind of have for our other show.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're back. It is currently, I guess, still Monday evening here on the East Coast. I am Mike Bernier. I am joined by the co-host of this three-man weave, Joe Lopez.
Hey, and we are earnestless. I think I said that correctly.
It's funny. He has a podcast network called Earnestly Speaking, and this will be an episode that doesn't involve Ernest. For those of you that don't know, because either you live under a rock or because you don't follow Ernest on all 97 social media outlets that he has, Ernest is out this week for the same reason that Joe was dinged up for a couple days there. Ernest and his wife unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this week. So Ernest is out of commission as he is resting comfortably at home, trying to beat this stupid ass thing.
Now, Mike, I have questions. I'm going to need you to confirm or deny.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, is it true that that his diagnosis of COVID is a lie, and that in fact he got into a fight with 7 Marines at a bar and is just unable to perform tonight?
Confirmed.
Okay, great. Is it also true that he has been banned from Twitter?
Denied.
Okay, well, damn, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Nope, not bad.
I only said 2 things, but still.
Not bad. Still on a bad list. So on tonight's show, we're going to start. We've only discussed, myself and Joe have discussed 2 topics to start this thing. If we think of a third one while we're recording, we'll go with it. If not, it'll be the 2 takes tonight from the 2 members of the Take 3 Wrestling podcast that are with you live. Before we begin, though, weird day of or week of, since it's Monday night. We were notified earlier today via Twitter, something that Ernest is not locked on yet, that current WWE champion Drew McIntyre tested positive for COVID-19 as well. He made a live appearance via satellite, was not in the Thunderdome, thankfully, tonight before the show. Fascinating how fact that Twitter blew up the fact that Keith Lee was wrestling tonight multiple times. And, he was around Drew McIntyre yesterday or last week. Guys, just so you know, you can get COVID within a 7-day period and find out about it.
Yeah, I'm also more than sure that Keith Lee was tested, and, I don't see WWE not taking this seriously. I mean, obviously they can't be thrilled about Drew McIntyre testing positive for it, but, I've seen people say that WWE, that this is a failure on their part and everything. I mean, look at every other sport. Like we were just talking about, you and I, before we started doing the show. Like the Boston Celtics have half their games canceled for this week because of COVID. This is kind of a reality of what's going on in our country. It's a sad reality, but it's a reality nonetheless.
Absolutely. Other fascinating news. Again, unfortunate on this perspective. Last year, this day, La Parka, not the WCW version in Japan, LA Park, but this one, La Parka, one of the Mexican wrestling legends, the anniversary of his untimely passing. And didn't you tell me something else happened on this day, Joe? Wasn't that the first episode of Raw?
Yes. The very first episode of Raw aired on this date 28 years ago, which is why it was very fitting that they had Randy Orton versus Triple H as basically the main event tonight, since that feud's been going on for 28 years.
It felt like it.
Yep.
All right, so that was the fascinating date of January 11th, 2020, and other things that had gone on. We'll get to our take.
Personal exciting wrestling news, but our t-shirts from Pro Wrestling Tees came in today.
Yay!
And by our t-shirts, I don't mean for the show or anything. I mean you and I ordered t-shirts, CM Punk shirts and Brody Lee, so I was excited about that.
Yes. When the news came out that Punk was donating all of his cut of the money from his shirts to Brody's family, myself and Joe made it a point to go out and acquire a couple.
You know, it would be low-key amazing, though. And I feel like this is something you could totally have on, like, Being the Elite or whatever. But I'm going to need Brody Lee Jr., like, showing up to CM Punk's door, knocking on it, being like, I'm going to need my money. Like, that would just be, it would be so on character. I can't believe I'm saying this as a real sentence about an 8-year-old, but it would be so on character for Brody Lee Jr.
Oh, it really would. Because what other gimmick does he have? Beating people with a kendo stick?
Right, exactly. Like, he shows up with the fucking kendo stick.
He just knocks on the door with the kendo stick?
Yes.
So, like, I'm a money man? That would be pretty epic. I'm not going to lie to you.
At this rate, this kid's going to win, like, debut of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Already, look, I'm just saying it, already a better wrestler than Dominic Mysterio.
Breakout Wrestler of the Year, -1.
Yep.
All right, guys, we'll get into it now. The 3 or at least 2 topics that we have for tonight's show. First up, we have a review of Wrestle Kingdom, something that Ernest would never let us do. So maybe this is the annoy Ernest topic.
Yeah, I guess that's about accurate. We were going to force him to watch a match, but
I still feel like we should next week.
I mean, we still could. I mean,
I could use it as my topic, so you can save the one that you're very excited about.
That works. That works for me. I mean, I just definitely, I figured at the very least that while we're a man down, and he wouldn't be able to talk about half this stuff with us anyway, why not go all in since you and I watched both shows? So
we have.
Let's go all in on that 5 hours of pro wrestling in the Tokyo Dome.
You mean 5 hours night 1?
Yeah, right.
3.5 hours night 2. How is the second night show shorter?
I don't know. It's part of the reason, though, why I'm not exactly 100% thrilled with the 2-night Wrestle Kingdom concept, because it feels like they're stretching one night, one good card into 2 nights. And then leaving out a lot of guys. Like, I don't understand. There's no good reason why all of these guys can't be on both shows, especially given the way New Japan usually does things. Like, just have a couple of tag matches with some of the guys or whatever.
I mean, you could have defended the 6-man tag titles on night 2,
right?
In a gauntlet match or something to start the show.
Like, honestly, you could have given me, and I know 50-50 booking annoys people, and like I get it, whatever. But you could have given me on night 2 a Will Ospreay and Great Okan versus Tanahashi and Okada match, where you gave the Empire back a victory. You know what I mean? Like leaving Wrestle Kingdom. You could have given me that. That would have been a fun little tag match to have on the first half of the card.
But at last, we didn't. We'll start night 1. For those of you that are new to New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Tokyo Dome show, Wrestle Kingdom, is basically their annual WrestleMania. It takes place on January 4th and now the 5th every year, no matter what day of the week it is. The 4th is Wrestle Kingdom Day.
Yeah.
It has gone to 2 nights over the last year or 2. Actually, last year was the first one, right?
Yeah. And remember, too, like, even though this is Wrestle Kingdom 15, they've been doing shows in the Tokyo Dome on January 4th for much longer than 15 years.
Mm-hmm. So the night 1 attendance, 12,689 fans in the stands. We'll start pre-show match, a 21-man New Japan Rambo to determine who will challenge for the provisional King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy on night number 2. Participants in this one, Minoru Suzuki, Yuji Nagata, Toa Hanrei, Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, Togi Makabe, Yuki, Yujiro Takahashi, Tomohiro Ishii, Tomaka Homana, Hiroshi Tenzan, Rocky Romero, Sho, Tiger Mask, Gabriel Kidd, Yoda Tsuji, and Yuya Umura were the people who did not make the Final Four. Final Four included the Bullet Club's own Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens, Bushi, and the 2020 Provisional King of Pro Wrestling Champion, Toru Yano.
So, first of all, you forgot one name in the Battle Royal, Hakuna Matata. He was also in there.
Oh, what a wonderful phrase.
Yeah. So, first of all, do I use this as my platform for being really annoyed that one of my favorite wrestlers once again gets the complete and utter shaft from New Japan? I mean, they
you're pissed. I'm pissed that they didn't put Minoru Suzuki in a more prominent role because I love Suzuki.
Yeah, no, I get that, but at least Suzuki's a legend. He's had his time. He's had his chance. Ishii has never been given the opportunity that he deserves. It's a consistent, New Japan Bill Cosbying his career. They be putting the pudding in the pudding is all I'm saying for all this time, and it's not okay. After a certain point, it's just not okay. Ishii is fantastic. This is one of those reasons why, it annoys me sometimes that people who are, into New Japan kind of give New Japan 100% of a pass and pretend that everything is right about it. Because, look, here's the case in point. You've got 2 nights of shows, and you can't put Ishii in some sort of a match where he actually matters.
I would have loved to see Ishii versus Minoru.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, literally, you have 2 nights. You have 8.5 hours worth of show, and this is the best you can do for one of your most underrated talents?
45 years old.
Who?
Ishii.
Really?
He's 45 and Minoru Suzuki's 52.
God damn.
Crazy, right?
I mean, Asian don't crack? I don't know.
Asian don't age?
Yeah, close enough.
All right. 34 minutes, 40 seconds. The 4 of these gentlemen will go to night number 2, where they will fight for the title of King of Pro Wrestling 2021. Yano, again, the defending champion, he never even stepped in the ring.
I enjoyed that.
That was the best Yano moment of them all.
Yeah.
All right. Without any further ado, let's get to the main card. Match number 1, the 2020 Best of the Super Juniors winner, Hiromu Takahashi, who is representing Los Increíbles de Japón. He takes on the winner of the 2020 Super J Cup, representing the Bullet Club, El Fantasmo. 17 minutes, 46 seconds. This match was a car crash from the word go. But the right guy won.
You're damn right telling me, because I'm going to tell you, I don't know what it is about El Fantasmo. I don't know if that he just has a face that only a mother would want to smother. Not only a mother, actually. I think everybody. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it is about him, but I don't like him. And it's not his in-ring ability, because he is actually a really, really good wrestler. I feel like I should like him. And maybe it's just the character he's playing, or I have no idea. But honestly, he's cringeworthy to me. He gets X-Pac heat from me. I just want him to go away at all times. And that's inconvenient. And I really don't enjoy that, 3/4 of his moveset is basically just former Bullet Club leaders' special moves. It feels like someone created him in a video game and gave him, all their favorite wrestlers' moves, and that was it.
Yeah.
Actually, he really does look like a creator wrestler, down to the shitty tattoos.
Shitty tattoos. Stupid color gimmicks.
Yeah.
Gear. Yeah.
I definitely, at some point, created El Fantasmo in, SmackDown vs. Raw 2003.
Facts. I like him in ring, but the extra stuff, and I'm gonna say this, and you know how I feel about the love of one Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah.
For him to disrespect the jacket and to try to disrespect the good name of Jushin Thunder Liger, fuck you, El Fantasmo.
Yeah,
fuck
for
you.
Real.
Haramu wins, setting up a night 2 between him and the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Tajiri Ishimori, also representing Bullet Club. Excuse me. Next up, we get an IWGP Tag Title match between the champions Dangerous Tekkers of Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi against the 2020 World Tag League winners, the Guerrillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa. 19 minutes, 18 seconds. The Guerrillas finally get the monkey off of their back and win at the Tokyo Dome at a Wrestle Kingdom.
I am not yet used to clean-shaven, baby-faced Tamatonga.
I'm not either, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I can deal with it. Like, it's growing on me. But, man, it is an adjustment.
Even if he isn't, like, super face, even if he's just, like, semi-face and then calls people out for being stupid when they deserve it, like, I'll be okay with it.
Oh, I'm talking about his literal face. Like, the fact that he took his beard off and he shaved his head, basically.
Oh, yeah, he looks like he's 12 now?
Yeah, exactly. I can't get used to that.
This is the 7th reign for the Guerrillas of Destiny as tag team champions.
Is it really?
Yes, this is the 7th and current reign with the IWGP heavyweight tag titles.
That's right. It's the record setter.
Yep.
Honestly,
Fascinating.
I wouldn't be against. Here's one of those areas where it's like I wouldn't be against like Tenkoji having a run where they get a shot at the belts at least. Like I don't need them winning the titles, but it would make a lot of sense. And given the extreme lack of tag teams at all times in New Japan, well, I don't know who else you have go against them anyway. So I could get behind that for like the next big show.
Well, your next big show, you probably get the rematch between
True.
Suzuki-gun and them. If not them, then you could probably get a team like Finn Juice, since it seems like Juice Robinson is pretty much no longer going to face Kenta.
Right.
For those of you that don't know, Juice Robinson and Kenta were supposed to fight on night number 1. He is out due to a broken orbital bone that happened at a Road to Wrestle Kingdom show over in Japan. He was replaced by Satoshi Kojima. Funny, we didn't actually make this the segue, but that it was the next match on night number 1. 14 minutes, 12 seconds for the right to challenge for the IWGP United States title. It was Kenta retaining his contract over Kojima. Can we talk about how I have no desire to watch Jon Moxley defend this title?
I mean, you're in luck because he may never end up defending it again.
I'm just saying, I have like no real desire to watch him defend the title, and the promo that he cut just makes it less desirable.
I guess I sort of get that. I don't know. I enjoyed the promo, and I can get behind seeing him fight Kenta. But honestly, the consistent delay to it isn't really making that much sense to me. Like, obviously, I understand why you're not going to see it anytime soon, but they really need to move forward with the storyline then. Like, do what NXT did where they crowned an interim cruiserweight champion, have Kenta as the interim U.S. champion and have Moxley still cutting promos being like, hell no, I'm the real champion. Eventually build somewhere with it. But I'm sure they're probably not going to do that, but they should do something like that, in my opinion.
Oh, I definitely think they should, because all we're doing at this point is just wasting inevitable time and patience of the fans.
Right, because how many times are we going to get Kenta defending his guaranteed shot at the title? That gets old after a while.
Yeah, once you get past about the third defense, you're just like, all right, you're ever going to cash this thing in?
Right, exactly.
My guess here is that you get Kenta versus Moxley, but it'll probably be at a New Japan Strong show over in the United States.
But how do you get Kenta over here for one of those shows?
Kenta's been over here. Kenta's been an integral part of New Japan Strong.
Really?
Yes, he's actually been pretty much the main event act of New Japan Strong.
I mean, if that's the case, then why don't they just have him and Moxley wrestle on one of those shows?
That's kind of what I was thinking that the plan was going to be here, and then that makes that the title to challenge for on that show, because that gets them a title that they can actually be going after all the time,
Right.
and it's just something that I feel like it's one of those that I think that it just makes a ton of sense. Let me go back and look though real quick while we're on the topic. Yeah, he actually defended the briefcase against Brody King on the 20th episode of New Japan Strong.
Okay.
He's been, oh wow, the 19th episode had Bullet Club, which was Owens, Hikulu, and Tonga Loa versus Finn Juice and Mysterios Jr., aka Sin Cara.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Tama Tonga versus ACH. Yeah, he was in a 10-man tag match against ACH, Brody King, Finn Juice, and Carl Fredericks on an episode. He seems like he's like one of the guys who's consistently there.
So there's no real good reason that we can tell for why they're not just doing the match on that show.
I mean,
other than they probably don't want to do it on a non-big show, but then maybe just record it at like one of these shows and like just air it as part of one of the big shows or something.
I mean, I feel like they got to do something because I mean, at this point, we're really getting into a spot though where are we ever going to get the match? I mean, he's defended the briefcase 3 times on the show, including that's where he won the contract.
I kind of just feel like the U.S. title in New Japan is like kind of pointless.
But it would make sense if they brought that title over to that New Japan Strong brand, and that was the title that everyone challenged for there.
Right, right.
Like if you put them on the show on that New Japan Strong show, and okay, so and so has to fight Kenta for the title,
right?
Because they earned it. Oh, okay, and then you could bring that match over to Japan once everything is lifted. But until then, you can make that the integral part of the Friday night show.
Right.
But you got to get the title on Kenta to do it.
Exactly. I agree with you on that.
Which I hope at least is sooner rather than later.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up, we have a singles contest. Will Ospreay's new group, The Empire, has been wreaking havoc on many people, from Kazuchika Okada to Hiroshi Tanahashi to pretty much anyone they can get their hands on. And we get a match here. The ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, steps into the ring. He takes on the Great O-Khan. 17 minutes, 13 seconds. Tanahashi hits High Fly Flow for what feels like the first time in a long time at a Wrestle Kingdom show.
So, if you're training to be a wrestler and you want to watch an example of somebody carrying somebody else to a good match, watch this one. Because I'm telling you, I think I said it to you during the shows live. I think I texted you this. But it kind of felt like Tanahashi was having a really good match and O-Khan was like basically trying to keep up.
Yeah. It was one of those where it felt like he was a step behind, and I think he knew it.
Yes.
And he was just trying to keep up to keep the match good, not great, because it was never going to get to the great portion with him being a step behind.
Exactly.
But
yeah, it probably was one of the more disappointing Tanahashi matches at Wrestle Kingdom. Like, it's the first one that I can really remember in a long time where I'm not calling it fantastic.
Yeah, there are very few that I look back on that I'm just like, and that was a Tanahashi match.
And I mean, look, I appreciate it. I appreciate that they put him in there with someone who they're trying to build up, who's young, who's got potential to be, a long-term star if they actually pull the triggers at the right time, which, most of the roster proves that they don't usually, but whatever. I'm going to just sip my tea. But that, besides saying that, I have to say, if WWE ever had a character and named it The Great O-Khan, the internet would collectively take the largest shit on it. So the fact that it gets no hate that I see that New Japan has this character kind of bothers me.
They already did. It was Lord Tensai.
You're right.
And it got shit on so hard.
And people liked him.
Yeah, that's the sad part. People actually liked him. Like I said, first time in a long time though we saw Tanahashi hit high fly flow, and it actually be good for a victory at Wrestle Kingdom. I feel like they've gone away from giving him the big match wins at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really need it. He's in an interesting position because he really is treated as like the elder statesman around there, but he's not actually that old. Like, I don't know how old he is 100%. I'm sure you're about to look it up.
44.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Styles is older and he wrestles every week on Raw.
That's factual.
So like, I don't always get why New Japan tries so hard to play up like old man Tanahashi as like the consistent storyline, but it's literally what they do pretty much at all times.
They played up as old man Tanahashi when they had 52-year-old Minoru Suzuki going out and fucking just having like stiff beating contests.
Right.
Makes no sense.
You had me at stiff beating contest.
I thought I did. Finally, the co-main event of the evening. This match, speaking of the Empire, it is the leader of the Empire. It is Will Ospreay. He meets with former Chaos leader and partner Kazuchika Okada. 35 minutes, 41 seconds, the longest match on night number 1. These two guys went to the middle of the Tokyo Dome, stood right across from each other, and beat the absolute piss out of each other.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of this match. Easily my favorite match of night 1. Everything about it was great. I mean, look, you know my opinion on Okada. I think he's probably the best wrestler on the planet. And the thing that's amazing about him is that he takes all the simple things and just makes them look so effortless and so flawless. And that's why he's the best. Like, he doesn't have to do, shooting star 360, 490. Fuck you, my name's Ricochet. Like, he doesn't have to do all of that. He can throw a drop kick and throw a fucking clothesline and look like $1 million. That is how you know this man is just like worthy of being one of the biggest stars of our generation, at the very least, if not just like ever. And it shows here. And the thing is, Will Ospreay, I'm gonna give him credit. He steps up. He steps up to that same level, and he shows that he can be one of those guys for New Japan, which I think is really important. One of the things that I'll give this show credit for, and give Night 2 credit for, is they really did a good job of setting up some guys as having the potential for moving up the card and becoming serious contenders over this next year. Whether or not they pull the trigger on these is going to be another question, but like right now, you can easily get Ospreay into a position where he's challenging for the world title, and it would be believable. I don't know that you have him win it, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't know that I would buy it. I don't know that it would be as big of a problem with him winning it as it would have been, a few years ago.
Yeah, I would love to see Ospreay challenge for the title.
Well, because honestly, and look, spoiler alert, we're about to talk about the main event anyway. Kota Ibushi's the champion. Everybody knows. I don't really care. But the thing is, it is believable for Will Ospreay to beat Kota Ibushi in a match. So if you put Ospreay into the position where he gets a shot at that world title, which they've put him in a position to be able to at least earn out his way there because of matches like the one he had here against Okada, you put him into that position, you give him that title shot, it is realistic that he could potentially win the belt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's someone that, given the right situation, especially with his push right now with the Empire and everything like that, I think it makes. I think it's perfect that he's a guy that could be pushed to the moon.
Oh yeah,
And
exactly.
I feel like him having a title run wouldn't be the worst thing. They really haven't had a British world champion.
I don't think ever. Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those where it's like I can see like maybe once everything's open, you can bring the title back home and enjoy being the champion not only in Japan but also in England.
Right.
35-41 Okada with the Rainmaker. It's nice to see him go back to the Rainmaker and not having to win a match via that stupid ass submission. I don't like him with the submission.
Really? Oh, I'm a fan of the money clip.
That's not the Okada that I like. Like, give me Rainmaker. Give me the fucking spinning lariat. That's like my thing.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't know. I just don't know that his offense really works leading up to like an arm triangle choke.
Right. I'll give you that. You're
Like,
not wrong.
it would be different if like his offensive maneuver led to like a crushing like leg submission. If his offense worked the legs.
Right.
But I just don't understand like an arm in $1 Million Dream sitting down like.
What do you think? What do you think's the well? Which hold do you like less, that one or the Miz's finisher?
The skull crushing finale?
Yeah.
Probably the skull crushing finale because I just don't know how that's like that devastating.
Okay.
I've never understood it.
Some wrestlers just refer to it as like the worst finisher in pro wrestling.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far because have you seen the Caterpillar?
Oh God.
I mean, he's technically a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
All right, main event of the evening, 31 minutes, 18 seconds for both the IWGP Heavyweight and the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. It is the champion Tetsuya Naito defending the title against the winner of the G1 Climax, who lost his contract to the gentleman main eventing Night 2 and Switchblade Jay White, Kota Ibushi. Joe has already told you guys who wins the match. Ibushi gets the victory. What's the name of his finishing maneuver? Kagatora?
Something like that. I couldn't even begin to tell you.
These two guys, I mean, this is kind of a reoccurring theme right now. These two guys beat the shit out of each other.
Oh yeah.
I love Ibushi at some point just turning into full-fledged, like, I don't care anymore, and just gets kicked in the face like 4 times and just starts staring at him like, this isn't affecting me.
Right.
This isn't phasing me. I don't know what you're doing to me. And like, this is like the 30-minute mark that this is happening.
Right.
So, he's been getting like beat around. Naito hit Destino a couple times. Ibushi hit the Phoenix Splash. Thank you that New Japan pulled the trigger.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that, like, on the first 2 nights when they finally did this, that there was some long-term storytelling going on there. Because, if there were 2 people who are Ibushi's, like, biggest foes in New Japan, and the 2 people who, he really needed to overcome in order to really get to this next level, it's Naito and Jay White.
I mean, it's definitely Naito, Jay White being probably in that small list of road bumps in Kota Ibushi's.
Because think about it, like I forget what the exact stat was, but Jay White has won most of their matches with each other. He's also the guy who took the contract away from him. I think he's the guy that he beat him for something else also. I forget, maybe the IC title or something like that.
Jay White had beaten him 3 straight times that they had wrestled.
Okay.
Let's see. Double champion. Ibushi defeated Hiroki Goto for the never openweight title, but lost to Will Ospreay.
And I'm going to say this too about the match. I was a big fan of it. I think it was fantastic. Definitely in the 5-star range, about 4.5 stars for me. I enjoyed the story they were telling. Naito has definitely gotten to a point where he's a really great wrestler in the ring. I definitely see why they've built so much around him in the last year or so. That was probably one that was a little bit overdue, but now that they finally did it, and it happened, and we've gotten to see it happen, it's been pretty awesome. All that said, I think they've had better matches with each other. I think their match in Madison Square Garden that you and I got to see live, that was a better match than this one. So, but I could watch them wrestle all day.
Ibushi's Intercontinental title match, after he lost it, was back to Naito, and then Naito lost it to Jay White.
Oh, okay.
But Jay had won 3 straight matches, including taking the G1 Climax contract from Kota Ibushi. Wasn't this back-to-back G1s that Kota was victorious in?
Yes.
Back-to-back G1 Climax victories for the former member of the Golden Lovers. And he finally got New Japan to pull the trigger. And I don't know necessarily what it was that made them pull the trigger, but I am forever happy that they did.
I think that they always planned to, and this was just they like their long story, their long-term storytelling.
I think this was the move once they knew for sure that Kenny was leaving.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
I don't know if there was much in this being the direction that they were going. Maybe it was, and rather than it being Naito, it would have been Kota versus Kenny.
I mean, it's very possible. Do you think in this world where we're seeing all these different companies working together and stuff that we end up seeing Kenny and Kota in the ring against each other?
I'm not going to take it out of my bank of possibilities, but I'm not willing to bet the house on it.
Right.
See, because I could see a thing where New Japan's like, no, we're not sending anybody across to the U.S. for the foreseeable future unless they're going to our bubble with New Japan Strong and stuff like that, so they don't put any of their own guys at risk, which I understand. So it's one of those things where I don't know necessarily how much free range we're going to get. Maybe it's something that in 2022 we might get. I don't know if we're going to get it this year.
Right, that makes sense.
That is night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom. Next night, January 5th, a little bit smaller of attendance for this show, 7,801 people, so we're down about 4,500 fans.
Yeah, that makes sense.
2 Stardom Dark matches saw Queen's Quest of AZM, Saya Katima, and Yuta Hashishita defeated Dona del Mondo of Himika Mayaki and Natsupo. And then you had Sayuri and Giulia defeated Mayu, Iwati, and Tam Nakano. I did not see either of these matches on New Japan's website, so unless Stardom's doing something with them exclusively, I don't know if we're ever going to see them.
Yeah, who knows?
Night number 2, it starts with the provisional King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy. It is the 4 men that survived the Battle Royal of night number 1. Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, Bushi, and the 2020 trophy winner, Toru Yano. And somehow Yano walks out retaining the trophy.
I was so okay with that.
It's the most Toru Yano thing that you could do.
It really is. I'll say 2 things. Number 1, Fale's lost weight and is starting to look kind of muscular, and I'm here for it. Yes, girl. I'm snapping my fingers. I hope you hear that.
Yes, queen.
Oh, yes. Number 2, I don't know how to explain this, but Chase Owens' bald spot makes him somehow a worse wrestler. Just putting that out there.
That's like saying that Bushi wearing a mask makes him blind.
I mean, look, I don't know.
Yeah, this one was good for it being 7 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, and they told their little stories and stuff. They definitely tried. It's just, these four guys, like, I mean, you couldn't give Ishii one of these spots.
I mean, I did like the fact that they tried the finger poke of doom.
They did. Yeah, I'll give them that.
That was quite comical. So it's fascinating where Toru Yano goes from here with the trophy. Obviously, I don't think he's going to make it throughout the full year with the trophy. He may get it back at the end of the year, but I definitely feel like he loses it at some point to someone, maybe even one of the guys that was in this match.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
It's like the 24/7 7-Eleven title.
Right.
All right. IWGP Junior Tag Title match. It is Suzuki-gun of El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus 1 or 8 of Ryushi Taguchi and Master Wato, who were brought to the ring by Hiroshi Tenzan. 13 minutes, 20 seconds. The champions Suzuki-gun retain. Kanemaru with the bottle of bourbon, I think it was.
Yeah.
Distraction allows them to get the victory. Best part of this match was anytime Master Wato was in the ring.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see him positioned in a different way within the company where, I mean, I just feel like being attached to Taguchi is like a kiss of death right now, especially as like such a young talent. So I'd love to see him maybe turn and join the Empire, or was it the Kingdom, whatever they're called?
The Empire.
Okay, cool. I'd like to see them maybe join them or, you know, something along those lines because I think he could really be quite the talent.
Yeah, because you could have him be their
junior heavyweight.
While you have Cobb and Great O'Khan going after the tag titles.
Right.
And you could add another junior later on down the road to kind of go if they decide to go the tag title route as well.
Right, exactly.
So I enjoyed the match. Obviously wasn't going to be on my short list of things that I'm going to tell you guys to go out of your way to watch, but it was actually...
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I've seen better matches. I've seen worse matches. I've seen worse Wrestle Kingdom matches. So I would say that,
like I said to you during this match, like I care about Taguchi about as much as I care about Dana Brooks.
Factual. And that's probably a reason why that this match never really got out of third gear.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next up, never open weight title, 21 minutes, 11 seconds. The reigning defending champion Shingo Takagi takes on Jeff Cobb of the Empire. Shingo hits Made in Japan, Lost in Japan, Dragon in Japan. Everything, every one of his finish maneuver has in Japan.
Yeah, apparently.
Shingo retains. I really, and you've known this about me, I am a big Shingo guy. I am very glad that he is part of something, of substantial merit.
Bigger than Dragon Gate?
Yes.
Yes. I agree with you. It's nice to see him on such a big stage.
And then to be in a title match.
Oh, yeah, no, and I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite match of the entire Wrestle Kingdom weekend. This is my 5-star match. Like, this blew me away.
Yeah, give me more Jeff Cobb and Shingo together, because those guys went at it.
Like, no, for real, like, I'm pretty sure they got into a car accident with each other before the show.
And then after the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, those two guys went at it, and, much kudos to them. Definitely my match of the night, and probably match of the weekend.
Yeah, like I said, that's 5 stars. 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome. It gives it extra half a star.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those where if you're looking for a match from Wrestle Kingdom, if you're in Ernest's shoes and you've never watched New Japan or you don't follow New Japan regularly, a match I'm going to tell you to go out of your way to watch is Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb from Wrestle Kingdom Night number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me all of the Shingo match, Shingo versus Jeff Cobb. Much kudos to them here. The next match is a match that has been probably 6 or 7 months in the making. Former tag partners now faction rivals. It is the former probably best tag team in New Japan for a while.
Yes.
Sonata versus Evil. 23 minutes 40 seconds. Sonata gets the victory over Evil, avenging Evil's turn on Lij and getting the win for them in their honor. Is there anything about this match that stood out? I mean, it was built very quickly.
Yeah.
But honestly, you knew that this was going to be a collision course, especially after Evil lost the title back to Naito.
Yeah. And I love, look, you know how much a fan I am of both these guys. You know how much I love their tag team. I'm so glad that they got a spotlight in such a big way with a big match on one of these shows. Maybe there was a little bit too much tomfoolery. We did get Dick Togo taking what will be the best table spot of all of 2021.
I mean, he literally made it Dick to go.
Yes, exactly.
That was definitely the best table spot of all of 2021. Don't try to top it.
Don't try to top it. It's just not worth it.
It ain't gonna happen. So just pack up.
I was a fan of this match. I was a fan of this match because I'm a fan of these guys, and I feel like they lived up to it, and they did what they had to do. I'm hoping that both these guys have a big 2021. Unfortunately, they feel like two guys that, again, New Japan doesn't really fully pull the trigger on. And I know Evil's literally a former double champion, but I mean, let's be honest, that felt like such a half-assed push that I don't even know what to really do with it.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the push that you would have hoped for.
Right.
From a guy who just basically turned on his entire brotherhood, really. You gave him the title, and then you almost just took it off of him right away, which kind of killed him. To me, it kind of sucks because, I'm as big of a Evil fan as you are. I loved Evil and Sonata together. I always thought they were great as a tag team. I thought that this match should have been the match that had the title on it.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Even if whoever wins it night one loses it to like Coda in night two or whatever, I just felt like the two of them having a match together for the IWGP title here in night one would have been a fun match between the two of them. These two guys work together very well. It's probably why they worked so well as a tag team. So you always know what you're expecting out of them. A great match, good back and forth. Sonata gets the victory. I don't think this is the end of Evil versus Sonata.
I hope not.
I would love for it to be a feud for the IWGP Intercontinental title, but we'll get there shortly because there's some stuff going on with that. Co-main event of the evening, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match. The champion Tajiri Ishimori takes on the challenger, the winner of night one's contest, the best of the Super Junior winner, Hiromu Tanahashi. Tanahashi gets the victory, regains the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. The Junior Heavyweight title. It's nice to see Tanahashi back in big, meaningful junior matches.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's one of those guys that I feel like has a lot of potential to grow, especially if he put on some more muscle and stuff. Basically, kind of did what Will Ospreay recently did. I could totally see Hiromu being one of the big stars of the company, which is great considering that it wasn't that long ago that we weren't sure if he was ever even going to wrestle again. So that's really fantastic. I was really excited for this match on paper. I don't think it delivered 100% to what I was hoping for. I think maybe it was a little bit longer than it needed to be, and maybe it was a tick too slow for my taste. I get it. They were in the co-main event spot, so they probably had to, kind of make it a little bit longer than a junior heavyweight title match usually goes. But, I mean, I'm a fan. I think it was a really good match, but I did go into it expecting maybe something great. So,
For those of you that don't know Hiramu's story, Haramu was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion in 2018 at a G1 special show in San Francisco. He successfully defended the title against Dragon Lee. It was reported after the match that Tanahashi had suffered a broken neck because of a botched Phoenix Plex. He would miss 9 to 12 months of action, was reported. He declared the title vacant on August 20th of 2018. November 3rd, 2019, Tanahashi made his return to New Japan at Power Struggle, challenged Will Ospreay to a match at Wrestle Kingdom 14, which he won the title. So back-to-back Wrestle Kingdoms, back-to-back victories. But the match against Ospreay at that Wrestle Kingdom wasn't the most important match of the weekend. It was the next night. He was part of the Jushin Thunder Liger retirement match as he teamed with Ryu Lee to take on Jushin Thunder Liger and Naoki Sano. He actually got the pin to beat Jushin Thunder Liger in Liger's last match.
Oh, wow.
So we should just name Hiroshi Tanahashi Mr. Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, for real.
All right, and the match we all been waiting for, 48 minutes, 5 seconds. If you sat through this one, it was a roller coaster of emotions. Switchblade Jay White of Bullet Club, the briefcase holder of the title shots. He defeated the man that he was fighting here in Kota Ibushi to win that briefcase. Ibushi versus Jay White, 48 minutes, 5 seconds. Kota walks away with the belt and walks out of the weekend as the double champion. Kind of surprised that it happened this way because I didn't know if they were going to pull the fast one and give Kota the one-day title run, which I had hoped they didn't. But the way that New Japan works, nothing is surprising. They didn't. They decided to keep the titles on him. And then some interesting stuff happened afterwards, which we'll get to. But let's talk about the match first, Joe.
Okay, so I was torn a little bit, to be perfectly honest, because on the one hand, I love Kota, and I was hoping that, I was also hoping that he wouldn't get a one-day title reign. On the other hand, I have Jay White on my fantasy wrestling team, and I was kind of hoping for all those points. So it was hard to know who to cheer for, but I don't hate the result. I liked the match a lot. I thought the match was really good. I don't think it was quite a 5-star match. I know it ended up being the longest main event in Wrestle Kingdom history. So it's got its place in the record books, and it'll be something that everybody remembers. But I don't know that it was actually like one of the best main events in Wrestle Kingdom history. I think the story was a little weird at times because, the hype video leading into it and a lot of what the announcers were saying, at least the English announcers, was focusing on how Jay White was kind of not the underdog. He was kind of the guy going into this match with the advantage, even though he was not the champion. And it's a rare thing that, the champion goes into the match as the underdog, but that was the situation here because you have Jay White who, obviously, like you said, he had the last 3 wins over Kota, and he didn't have to wrestle the night before, and all of these things. So he has Gato in his corner and all of that. So really, Kota is supposed to be the underdog here, who's trying really hard to do whatever he can to get the win. And I think there were a lot of times in the match where it ended up feeling more like Jay White was the underdog, and that didn't really work for me as much as I was hoping for it to. But I'll also say this, it was probably one of the best Jay White matches that I've seen. I think that he's finally gotten to the point where he's a believable main event star. He's got the look and he's got the in-ring ability. Like, I don't know what the chances of it are actually happening. I don't know what his contract status actually is. I know there's been some talk and rumor that it might be coming up and he might be looking, to go elsewhere, or at least elsewhere is looking to get him. But I've also read that AEW was interested in signing him, and he had told them back in 2018 that he had just signed a 7-year contract with New Japan then. So who knows, what the situation is right now. But I wouldn't hate it if Jay White showed up on NXT. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think I'd hate it either. Good match. Obviously not the best match that of the weekend. But a good match, a good story to close Wrestle Kingdom. Post-match, While Okada is celebrating, out comes Sonata. So it looks like we're getting Kota Ibushi versus Sonata, which
I can live with that.
I will be a fan of.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the big news post show. The two big stories. Jay White cuts a promo after the win, basically saying that he's done. He's done doing this for all of you. He's done doing it for anyone other than himself, and that after the next day's New Year's Dash, that he was leaving. Rumors have started to circulate that he's going to end up in WWE. Others are saying that it's a storyline. Others are
I think
saying
storyline.
I think storyline makes sense because obviously he's had to be in Japan for some time now. Because he probably hasn't left because I don't know how well he would have done getting back in.
Right.
So it's very possible that he may have just straight up been like, all right, guys, you got everything out of me for the next 6 months that you're getting. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, if that's the case, I no problem with him taking some much needed time off to rest, recuperate.
Oh yeah.
Have family
Absolutely.
time, stuff like that. So,
because the thing is, like I was saying, like I think they have finally gotten him to the point where he's a believable main eventer, which doesn't go away by him taking some time off because he just shows back up and he's like even more so. You're excited to see him. Like, yeah, definitely goes right back into the main event.
This could also lead to the breakup of Bullet Club.
I don't see them doing that. I mean, you got all these other companies trying to put Bullet Club back together, so.
Yeah, but you're going to have guys that are going to go off with Evil. And you're going to have guys that are going to stay with Jay. Because now that he's not there, someone's going to have to take the leader role. And obviously it's probably going to be Evil.
Right. Yeah, I would say so. That or Kenta.
So, I mean, you're going to get him to feud with one of them when he comes back. So what, is he going to be the odd man out and now become a face and not be a part of Bullet Club anymore?
I mean, that's not impossible.
Yeah, but if he does that, then he has to go completely rogue.
Yes, agreed.
He can't go be part of, Chaos again.
Or whatever. Yeah, no,
he was part of Chaos.
He'd have to be a lone wolf.
Yeah, he's got to go rogue. Maybe he gets one or two guys to and kind of his own thing like Ospreay does, but for a while he's got to be Switchblade. He's got to be himself.
Yes, I agree.
So that's the way I kind of look at it. The other big story here is Kota Ibushi's talking about unifying the titles. Why?
Yeah, I don't get that. I would rather see them actually like separate the belts finally. Like I was excited that Okada did an interview not too long ago where they were asking him about if he would challenge for the belts and he was kind of like, I would challenge for the world title. I don't really care about the Intercontinental title. And I would like to see that. I'd like to see the belts finally separated. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're more likely to see them just unified. But it really doesn't make sense because in a company where 3/4 of the storylines are based around chasing titles, you kind of need more titles.
Well, I mean, because here's the thing. That Intercontinental title, stay with me here, perfect title for Will Ospreay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Put that on him. Let that be his launching pad to potentially fighting for the world title.
Right, exactly.
And it makes it more believable. It makes the Empire more believable. It makes everybody happy. Because here's the thing. I love Shingo as the never openweight champion.
Yes.
Shingo's not having matches with Will Ospreay doing flippity flip stuff.
No.
But Will Ospreay can have those kind of matches with a bunch of people and then work one random match where he's got to work more stiff or something like that with somebody for the Intercontinental title and make that match even more explosive.
Exactly.
But Shingo's not going out there ever and doing fucking, 630 Meltzer drivers and stuff like that.
No, he didn't do that shit in Dragon Gate, not that much. So.
And Dragon Gate was more known for the flippity dippity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know that I necessarily believe that, the IC title should be done. But I'm kind of with you that I feel like inevitably it's going to end up being unified, which kind of sucks because that title is the perfect title for Will Ospreay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely.
So
because the never openweight title, it just doesn't have that important feeling to it.
No, it doesn't, and I think that's because at the beginning of the title, it was really kind of a throwaway.
It was.
It wasn't until Suzuki got the belt that it became more of a serious title distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Once Suzuki got it and basically turned it into a, here's a swift kick right in the throat kind of thing where, you're going to have to go out and have these brawls. It just seemed like it was elevated once Minoru got a hold of it. Which, no offense to any of the guys that held it before him, but it just feel like it became more of a, these two guys are going to go out there and have a hoss fight.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, all right, that's Wrestle Kingdom. New Year's Dash was the next day. Nothing serious seemed like it occurred. Just some multi-man tag matches, but no real storyline build here.
That's disappointing.
It's super disappointing because that's normally their go-to is starting everything for Power Struggle and everything else with New Year's Dash. So didn't really feel like that happened much this year. Be interested to see what they decide to do with the New Japan Cup in 2021. Also interested to see what they do with basically the next big show. It seems like it's going to be Ibushi versus Sonata.
Right.
But that's really all that really feels like it's developed. There's no real development in the juniors or in the, tag titles or anything along those lines.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could do rematches from Wrestle Kingdom for the most part.
This is not WWE. We'll not be running the same fucking segments 307 times. Not happening.
True, but they usually do some rematches from Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have a problem with getting another Ishimori versus Hiromu match, and I wouldn't have a problem with Zack and Taichi going after the tag titles, but I don't need to see Taguchi and Master Wato versus Suzuki-gun.
I don't need to see Taguchi, period.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, why are we worried about that guy?
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, that's the way I look at it. But that was a fun show. If you have not watched it yet, I suggest you go watch it. It's actually a really fun show. Probably not as good as last year's.
Yeah, it was an interesting one.
But it was definitely interesting.
And there's some really great matches. Like, there really are matches that are worth going out of your way to see.
Yeah.
Last week was a great week for in-ring wrestling.
Yes, it was. All right. So the final for sure segment of the night is going to be a fun one that we decided to do, which are going to be predictions for 2021. Now, on last week's show, we made, quote, bold predictions. This week, we'll make some just random predictions on some topics that I thought about, like, who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble? Who do you think they're going to challenge for the title? Do you think anyone's going to kick out of the One Wing Angel? Stuff like that.
Ooh, I like it.
So we'll start. Got a burp.
You can do it. I believe in you.
All right, WrestleMania's road has begun. We have the Royal Rumble coming up in about 2 short weeks. Some fun stuff going on there. Let's address it. First prediction of the 2021 docket: who wins the Royal Rumble?
All right, well, do I say who I'm hoping wins, or do I say who I think is actually going to win?
You can do both.
Because I'm hoping this is Daniel Bryan's year. Like, it's the one thing that he hasn't done in WWE that, given how I personally feel he is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and definitely one of the bigger stars of the last decade or so, especially for WWE, and I mean, long before that, I've been a fan of his since 2002, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen him in every setting. He is my guy. And the one thing he hasn't done is win the Royal Rumble. And I would love to see this year be his year. I'd love to see him go on and challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. The two of them could have an incredible match. I don't know if it'll be in front of fans or not, but I don't think that it matters. I think that they would put on a WrestleMania quality match. I think that Daniel Bryan's always good for that, and Roman Reigns, especially this year, is in that right position. So I really hope it's Daniel Bryan that wins it. You know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and just say that I think Daniel Bryan's gonna win.
I'm going to go with you that I think I want Bryan to win. I think the winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble will be Shinsuke Nakamura.
Okay.
I think Nakamura wins and then I think Bryan beats Roman for the title at Elimination Chamber.
I've seen that. I've seen people predicting that.
But that'll only happen really if we can get The Rock to agree to face Roman.
Right.
If not, then I think Roman goes into WrestleMania with the title, and then maybe he faces Bryan there.
You know what's funny? I feel like that there's a chance of The Rock appearing because I know that the next Fast and Furious is slated to come out around WrestleMania time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also expecting that they're going to end up delaying it because of, the fact that movie theaters are still mostly closed. So I don't know that that's actually going to play as a positive for them. I mean, I would get behind a Rock and Roman match for sure.
All right. Next up, we'll go with another one here. WrestleMania main event.
Like the last match of the night?
Correct.
Huh. That's a hard one. I'm going to go with, I think if they do it, they do it. I think we go with Roman and Daniel Bryan, or Roman and The Rock if they end up going in that direction.
Yeah, I think the safer thing here is just say Roman's going to be in the main event no matter what the match is.
Yeah.
Whether it's for the title versus somebody or whether it's versus The Rock, I think they're going to close the show with Roman no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's a good guess.
So I think that's the cheap way out is to say Roman versus the table.
Yeah.
Shifting gears, we'll go look at the NXT brand real quick. Number of NXT members of their roster that are going to get called up.
It feels like they're really just not calling people up as much anymore. And I think I read a story, and I know, internet stories, so it's about as believable as anything that, you can't actually verify in any capacity. But I read a story that Daniel Bryan over on the SmackDown side has been pushing for them to add more talents from NXT, and that it's being kind of pushed back at because of how unsuccessful so many talents have been when they've made the transition over. So I actually don't know that I think there's going to be a ton of talents. I'm going to go with a solid number and just say 7 for the year. And I know that we've already got reports on possibly 2 with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest both possibly leaving NXT. I know those rumors have been out there. So I think, I think we're going to see some, but I also think that the stalwarts like Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae and Tommaso Ciampa are all going to still just keep calling NXT home.
See, I think you're right on the Gargano and Ciampa system here.
Yeah.
But I feel like one of 2 things has to happen, and I guess that could lead to our second portion of this NXT topic for right now that we can get back to. Do the Undisputed Era break up or do they move to a different brand?
Maybe a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. Maybe you have 2 of them end up on Raw and 2 of them end up on SmackDown.
Or you have, Bobby and Roddy stay on NXT and you have Adam go to Raw and Kyle go to SmackDown?
Yeah, I'm sort of interested to see what the next step is with Kyle O'Reilly, because with the story that they're telling with him and Balor, it feels like there has to be a next step, and you got to go somewhere with him at this point.
I think you have to go somewhere. It's just I don't want it to be a step back to the North American title picture.
Right.
Because Kyle's put on 2 really great matches.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't want it to be a thing where they're like, well, no, we're not going to do anything anymore. So I hope they just keep pushing Kyle. Okay, so let's stay on NXT. Who inevitably beats Finn Balor to win the NXT title?
It's probably gonna be Karrion Cross. It just feels like they're going. It feels like Balor only ever got the title because Cross got hurt, and he's basically like I hate. I don't even know that it counts as a transitional champion because it's not like they like it's not exactly a transition. It really is more just like, well, he got hurt, and we had to have someone be champion for a while. And Balor's had a fantastic title reign. I mean, I'm not. It's not the person that I would like do if I was in charge because I'm not 100% the biggest Karrion Cross fan, but I do just feel like they've already put him back into the push that he had going before he got injured. So it's only a matter of time before he's the champion again.
In your world, who would you have take the title off of Finn?
In my world, probably Kyle.
I think you're right. I think it is going to be Karrion Cross. I think he's the guy that they're definitely pushing to the moon. My guy that I would prefer to have take the title from Finn Balor. It's going to be a little bit different here, and I don't know why I feel like he's the guy to do it, but I feel like Ciampa would be a guy if he took the title off of Balor.
Yeah.
Because of how good of a match that those guys could have together. Especially because the fact that now they have basically Ciampa just kind of sitting in a feud with Timothy Thatcher that is kind of eh.
You know who I would love to see challenge Balor for the belt? Doesn't have to be the guy to win it, although that would be cool too, but I'd love to see him at least challenge for it. Pete Dunne.
I would love to see a Pete Dunne Finn Balor feud.
I feel like that match would be incredible.
I would love if Pete's the one that takes the title off of him.
I mean, it would fit. It would certainly fit. He's in a stable with the tag champs.
You know, even if it's he actually just outright beats Finn.
Yeah.
You know, that'd
be a shocker.
And then you could get a Karrion Cross versus Pete Dunne feud.
Right.
I could dig it. Because
I would not be against it.
Scarlett would come out in those attractive outfits, and Pete Dunne would just look at her with that smug look and shrug his shoulders, like meh.
Right.
the most Joe Lopez thing I could think of on this show.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne looking at Scarlett in those outfits and just shrugging his shoulders and going meh.
Yep, for real.
All right, AEW, some predictions there. We'll start with the first one. I kind of spoiled it. Will anybody kick out of the One Wing Angel in 2021?
Yes.
And why is it Adam Page?
I don't know that it's Adam Page, but I think someone's going to do it.
Who do you predict that it would be?
That I don't know. It really depends on who, because like there's the thing, right? Like if this ends up being a year where we get Kota Ibushi versus Kenny Omega in one of these rings, in either a New Japan ring or an AEW ring, I think Kota gets to be the guy to do it.
I think that would make sense. I think Adam's going to be the one that inevitably gets the honor, because I think Adam's going to be the one that wins the title from Kenny eventually. But I don't know when eventually is going to be, because I don't see this being here's a 6-month Kenny Omega title run. Like, I think we're here for a while.
Right. I agree.
Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think that Page can't kick out of the One Wing Angel the first time and then lose to it the second time and then inevitably win the title from him eventually. Because I think he can, but I still feel like that this is one of those where we're going to be here for a while on a Kenny Omega title run, so I don't know if we're going to rush into anybody kicking out of the One Wing Angel.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that.
Obviously, Darby Allin is currently the TNT champion. What's next for him and his father, Sting?
I really am not 100% sure. I mean, I guess he's going to stay TV champion for a while. I think that title reign's got a lot of legs left in it. Watch, I'm completely wrong, and he loses to Brian Cage in like 2 days.
I was going to say, what, you think Brian Cage is going to beat him?
No, I think Darby Allin's going to hold on to the belt. I really do. I think he's going to hold on to it for a while, actually, and really kind of establish it, because, you know, it could use that. It could use, like, kind of a nice long reign. Like, Cody had some good reigns with it. We know Brody Lee had a nice little run with it, but, like, ultimately, I think it could use someone holding it for a really long time, and I could see Darby being that guy. I don't know what they do with Sting. Like, I'm waiting to see if Sting's gonna compete. I know that I had read a while ago, and again, stories on the internet. Who knows how true they are or aren't? But I thought I had read a while ago that Sting had come in as a full-time talent with the intention of wrestling a pretty regular schedule. Whether or not that's still the case, I don't know. Right now it kind of feels like he's Ash and Darby Allin is Pikachu. That's what they've been going with. I don't know. If Sting does end up being a regular competitor, though, I could see him being someone who maybe Kenny Omega gets a match against. Because, Sting might not be able to go the way he can go back in, 1992 anymore, but there's still a little bit of a dream match quality to seeing him versus Kenny Omega.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like he'd get Kenny. I feel like he'd get Cody.
Yeah.
Those would probably be the two guys that he would probably get in the ring with first.
I can see that.
Before it trickles down to anywhere else. Do the Young Bucks make it to September with the tag titles?
No. I'm gonna say no. I think they'll make it through a pay-per-view or two, but I think they're gonna lose the belts probably back to FTR.
My next question was going to be, is it to FTR or is it to the eventual heel turn of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows?
I think it's going to be FTR. Only because I don't know how long that whole deal is going to be with Impact and AEW. It's hard to predict.
I think Gallows and Anderson have their own clause, though, where they can kind of do whatever they want.
If that's the case, and if they become kind of staples on AEW, that would be really interesting. And then, yeah, I'd be totally for that.
Let's see, are there any more here that I want to... Will we get a FTR and Shawn Spears stable in 2021?
No, because AEW has no fucking clue what they're doing with Shawn Spears.
All right. And last but not least, on the AEW standpoint, for right now, who will turn from the Inner Circle?
Oh God. I don't know. Can I turn from it? I'm so tired of it.
That's what I'm saying. I think something has to happen. I don't know exactly what the play is here. It feels like it.
I feel like if anyone's going to end up leaving the group first, it's going to be Santana and Ortiz. And I feel like they're going to somehow end up in a dead-end stable with Eddie Kingston, where it's like this stable should really matter, and somehow it doesn't.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I kind of think it should be Ortiz and Santana, but I feel like the first people that might. MJF's here.
Yeah.
So, all right. Last but not least, quick predictions. Kota Ibushi holds on to the IWGP title for how long? All right. Any big surprise debuts for New Japan that you can think of off the top of your head? Yep.
For New Japan,
does he join the Empire and finally align himself with the guy who can never beat in Will Ospreay, or does he feud with them?
No, I can see him joining them and being there like junior heavyweight. Yeah, or even like we were talking about them having two of them to go after like the tag belts. Hell, he can even go after the Never belt with Cobb as like busy in a tag team.
Final part of the evening. Let's do some MVPs.
That's a hard one. Like I said last week, there was a lot of fantastic wrestling. You know what? My favorite match of the entire week was probably Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix on AEW. That was a hell of a match, and I feel like because for the fact that the most underrated wrestler in that match, and frankly one of the most underrated wrestlers I think on the planet is Rey Fenix. So he's getting my MVP.
I'll make mine blatantly obvious. I'll take the current IWGP heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion Kota Ibushi. Ernest, in your
I
honor,
like
will
it.
take Anyone But the Fucking Lucha Bros theme song. All right, guys. So
Right.
Vix and
Ernest needs to
Robitussin.
take some Robitussin. I'm telling you, that's
All
what
right.
worked for me.
So that is this week's show of the
Yep.
Wrestling Podcast. Again, Ernest is out. Step back, COVID. We do, as much as we razz you, we do hope you feel better.
We hope you feel better,
but
Ernest.
that's the show. I'm going to go edit this and send it to him before I have to get my teeth yanked out of my face. No.
That sounds
no.
incredibly not fun. Is it Britt Baker?
It might be. Yeah.
Is it
I
Isaac
got screwed on the
Yankum?
dentist game.
Damn.
All right, so before we go, plug away our other show, the Name Substitute Change Wrestling Podcast, where myself and Joe are doing a 2003 watch along. We just posted Vengeance. We're getting ready to watch SummerSlam. That's going to be this week's episode. Follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Burn, BERN. Follow the show at Take the number 3 Wrestling. Joe does not have a Twitter, so don't follow him. You can follow Ernest at EJ Christian 7, as well as the Earnestly Speaking Podcast Network. That is Joe. I am Mike. This is the this is the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast. Until next week, we will see you guys on the flip side. Bye.